Alright everyone, it's time for Occult Literature, video number 161, Occultism in the Shakespeare Plays. A rather good work, although it's fairly short. This is one of the booklet-length works that I frequently edit because nobody else really, they don't want to take the time to do it because they know it's not going to sell as many copies. Link in the description to my edition of this work on Amazon. Second and third links to my books blogs. There are a lot of other sort of quasi-academic, especially theosophical works in the academic section. That's the background from which this particular booklet comes. It comes from Theosophy. Now, I've actually read, I can't remember the exact title of it, it was something about Francis Bacon. Years ago, it was from the early 20s, I think. It was a theosophical booklet, sort of studying Shakespeare as well. That one was even, that was like 10 pages long. It was a tiny work. This one's a bit longer than that. And essentially, the theater is something, especially with regards to Shakespeare, that was considered highly important within Theosophy, probably still is. I don't keep up with their activities in the modern sense, and Adyar and so forth. I think Rudolf Steiner still has some schools over in Germany that still operate now, you know, almost a century later, which is interesting. They have like holistic education sort of stuff. Now, and essentially this one, this particular work ruminates on several works, not to the exclusion of others, but mainly, and lists specifically The Tempest as the most outright occult of the Shakespeare plays. I happen to agree with this. I mean, you look at Prospero and pretty much everything that happens there, because it's a farce. It's a comedy of the utmost. In order to make the plot even make any sense, you have to have magic, and it's common. It's basically the whole plot is magical. You have some in Julius Caesar, of course, and the idea of, the Ides of March and making predictions and some of these symbolic things that happen. Macbeth, certainly. The idea of I believe, the soothsayers within the context of Macbeth being, referenced, giving sort of a fortune. You won't lose until, what is it, the hill in the forest comes against you. I'm butchering that line. I'm not an enormous fan of Shakespeare. I don't like memorize plays or anything. I like The Tempest best because it's hilarious. And by the way, I saw one of those when I was in high school, and it was a really low-budget performance. Like, the same four people were doing all the roles. Actually, it was kind of interesting to watch, even though it was, again, very, very, very low budget. Like, there's like $10 worth of equipment, like the plastic swords and shit, and it was hilarious. It's kind of funny. It's a farce, so it doesn't matter as much. This is an excellent little booklet, though. If you want to see some of the genuine references to magic, sort of isolated from maybe the modern Hollywood-style occultism, this one ruminates more on styles of occultism that, at least, again, in the theosophical opinion, had a basis in reality. The idea of telling fortunes, contact with spirits, some of these other subtopics within magic considered more legitimate than others. Like the idea of like, oh, I put on the black robe and wave the stick around, here's my black cat and cauldron. That's sort of just, pure fictional imagery. Then there's an occult side that deals with the gods, and deals with various spiritual forces and so forth. That's more actually with it. Actually makes more historical sense if you look at maybe pagan documentation as opposed to things from after the burning times. So it's an interesting work, again, though short. If you're interested in Shakespeare, you're probably going to like this. It's sort of a theosophical spin on some of these plays. Again, link in the description to my edition of this work on Amazon. Second and third links are to my books blogs. More material is available there. There are like 10 categories on them now. That's about all. Peace out.